Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes like some ancient cave mural. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out the photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost. Entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried-up riverbeds, abandoned in a... You see primitive oil rigs built into glaciers, boreal dvorg, yurts under the snow. Albeit dark and cold, this vision also feels cozy in its own way. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario. A desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world as Wirral becomes untethered from its sun, drifting through the universe." This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and GPI span the marker-drawn grid, the grand scheme of production, and it looks a bit like an academic calendar, only much more brutal. Minimi stands for a mini meeting. It's part of a bigger framework for managing work called RUN. Station 41 tried to implement it a few years ago, but failed. As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region.
Looks like they didn't make it.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, "The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: Call in, Tune Out, Wirral Untethered, and Heat Death of the Universe." The full text reads, "Heat Death of the Universe is the new black." Another note says, "The biggest advancement in role-playing systems since the 30s. This appears to be some kind of machine with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework. The keyboard...
A radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone inside. We have one of these down at the station, but I never really learned how to use it.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open. It's empty like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left dangling.
This is where the memory should go.
Nothing happens. Nothing happens. This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly. The whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic tiles. Very pesantic. History classes, students with their textbooks open, studying the roots of our civilization. Those aquarelle blue tiles looked beautiful in the sun. Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7. Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. Perhaps. The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like. A list of names under the stations suggests people across 6 Isolas would be playing. Muindi, Insulinda, Kotla, Grad, Samara, and even Ilmara. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God. It's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became. The schedule. I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages.
Okay. What do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace? Yes, that is the question. It looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games, only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio.
Utter madness, he thinks, as a compliment.
Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Grad, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry.
Not in Revachol West, among the ruins.
But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an inter-isolary game before. We just don't have the technology. No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard. Indeed, those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in.
Super cool. Someone should give them millions of real immediately. This game is too good to be left unfinished.
Through call-in stations, none of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the Game Master Frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts. Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but... Yes, especially in here. Okay, let's keep moving.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. Have you stirred the ghost of the doomed commercial area from its rest? Could this be its dismembered hub? The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice...
Good evening, Fortress Accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name...
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian Repeater Station. It's my job to know where you are. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios. Now please tell me the reason for your call, Fortress Accident. Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. An iron safety curtain curves before your eyes, folded like a bellows. It covers half the room, blocking the way into a colossal industrial chimney. This must be where the entity lives. What an odd thing to do. Nothing happens. Still nothing. No one's home. Those curtains prove to be surprisingly sturdy. Your fist hurts. If this is really an entrance to the chimney, then there must be a furnace somewhere as well.
Can you please try to refrain from attacking random things? Thanks. In any case, there's no way we can get in right now. Let's investigate further.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the frame. The speaker comes.
Good evening, Fortress Accident. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? The filament you have inserted into the reader? That was a question. Have you inserted it into the core? Good. Please repeat.
Password Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human administrator involved.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Received. I will register this login attempt.
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Fortress Accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been registered to. One moment. Fortress Accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games.
That's not bad.
Any other questions? Good. Please repeat the password. Received.
Don't worry.
Fortress accident. Is there any? Thank you.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is cut. The bear looks oddly realistic. Is it taxidermy? The lieutenant doesn't answer. His eyes are glued to the animal. A sharp slice of light shines out from its mysterious belly door. A gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates itself. This is the lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun. The shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge. You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door. A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. It looks nothing like the fridge. The paper still smells of vanilla and chocolate.
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge. I know. What an unfortunate marketing choice. What is even worse, the bear is still costing them money to this day.
The fridge buzzes with energy. The electricity bill on this thing must be catastrophic. A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
seems like an old bunker from the revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache. There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting. Do you want to take a look?
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs. Rummaging around, you find rusty rifles hidden away. Most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest, but one catches your eye. A bolt-action model with a fine wood stock, in better cosmetic order than the other.
That's a rare sight. Seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way. It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say.
He likes this find. The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen.
Does it say anything interesting?
This is tangential at best, but the lieutenant's detective instinct is still active. Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe. You'll find the filament memory with the off-site copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Suliswaf.
Looks like someone from that radio game company upstairs. I'm a little surprised they just left their property lying here. That's a plausible hypothesis. It belongs inside a radio computer, storing its memory. It's like a tape. You listen to disco tapes, right? It's like one of your disco tapes, only for a computer. Really? You don't have a single guess? Oh, I'm sure that child would love to get his hands on the filament memory. Even if he doesn't know what to do with it, he'd probably try to pawn it for speed, based on our encounter. I don't know. I assume it's somewhere close to the Ice Bear fridge.
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner on top and an electric freezer that appears to be frozen shut. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. In the distance you hear, it's all gone now. You'll never become a poet or an entrepreneur. You slip your fingers under the frozen lid, but the ice is too cold for you to get a good grip. A pry bar. If you want to try again, then you need to have the pry bar in your hand, detective.
Equip the pry bar by going to the Tools tab in your inventory. From there, you can equip it to a...
Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the Ice Bear fridge, and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby. This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner on top and an electric freezer that appears to be frozen shut. Turning the crank feels odd. It's all gone now. You'll never become a poet or an entrepreneur. This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. If the ice squeaks beneath the pry bar. This orange machine is buzzing like an the ice squeaks beneath the pry bar. You think you've got the bar jammed in there pretty well, but the lid simply won't budge. You see the pry bar's metal handle bending, right?
Yeah, well, that's a good pry bar. I'm not criticizing it, but this ice cream maker is frozen shut. It takes an advanced tool to get it open. I have no idea, officer. This ice cream maker isn't important enough to requisition a special tool.
Sooner or later, you will stumble upon a tool mighty enough. Then we will know what's in this mysterious ice cream maker. A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace. Coloring it, looks like this furnace has a face, and it's a face of agony.
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire. Only dead rats.
It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice. The echo is so prominent. It's impossible to discern
What are you doing? Wait, really? Maybe it's coming from behind those safety curtains we saw upstairs. You're right. The rooms do look like they're connected. But malignant entities don't exist. At least not the
Always has to be the skeptic, this man. A lush layer of coal now covers your skin, sinking into the wrinkles. Maybe you could paint something with this coal. Leave a cave painting for future archaeologists. No, that would be stupid. A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace. Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny...
Hello?
You've awakened the entity.
Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
You hear a low rumble upstairs.
After you, officer.